Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad you're joining us for this bonus episode of Vocations Live. We're normally coming to you in the evening time on every other Tuesday, but we had this special opportunity to speak with Sister Stephanie Baliga, who, if you haven't seen anything about this running sister, I'm just wondering where you've been. Like, I saw her on like covers of like what Running World and like places that you don't normally see sisters inhabit. But it's so amazing. So thank you so much for joining us, sister.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Great. Well, please first, before we get into all of how you have become famous at running, I would love to know more about you. How did you grow up? Are you a lifelong Catholic, big family? You always wanted to be a sister? All those things?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. So no, I grew up in Rockford, Illinois. So I was raised Catholic, but my mom at the time was not Catholic. She did later convert. But that was like a way long like time later. But we were raised Catholic, but was not a very important part of our lives. So we went to mass on Sunday, but we never talked about the faith. I was pretty poorly catechized. I didn't really know what was going on. So I ended up going to University of Illinois, and that's where I had my more intense reversion conversion experience of Jesus, however you want to call it. So yeah.
Awesome. And so what what did that look like? How did you get on fire for Jesus? Did they have a Newman Center there that was just wonderful, or what
Well,
happened?
so of course it involved running, absolutely. I won what I was essentially my religion, if you honestly could say, when I was in middle school and high school, was long distance running. So I won 18 conference championships in high school in cross country and track, and then I got recruited to run for University of Illinois. So I went there. I did walk on the team. Um, and so then my sophomore, skipping a lot of things, I was the sixth fastest freshman in the nation in 2006. My team was very, very, very good. We placed the top 10 every year that I was at U of I in cross country. And so then my sophomore year in track, I broke my foot. My foot spontaneously fractured because I was running 70 miles a week. So that was exciting. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't run anymore. So this was kind of a problem for me at the time, since my entire life revolved around running. So I started to reevaluate a lot of my life priorities at that point in time, and started to think about how I was clearly not going to be a professional runner, and my life could not revolve around running, and this clearly was not going to work out in lots of ways. So I ended up getting more involved with the Newman Center on campus when all of a sudden I had 5 free hours a day. What do you do with 5 free hours a day, right? So I ended up going to church. And then ended up going on a retreat when I had this foot problem, and had an extremely powerful experience at adoration, where I realized that Jesus was really present in the Eucharist, and this was actually all real. And if this was all real, I had to change everything I was doing immediately. So I ended up starting to learn how to pray. I read the Catechism cover to cover. I totally reevaluated my life and changed how I was living. So that's what happened.
And that's a radical reversion,
Yeah.
I would say. But it just falls into exactly what so many priests and cardinals and everybody's saying to us, is that we need to slow down.
Yeah.
And we need to get rid of some distractions. We need to put aside technology and just focus right on what is really important to us. And so it's good that you picked the better part, meaning in the fact that with 5 hours a day, I know that there are plenty of college students, not that they're listening to this, but if they would probably not be picking church. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they had
Yeah.
5 hours a day, they'd be like, woohoo, let's do something else. So you picked the better part. I have to, that's very exciting and great, which is why you probably led you, if you knew this was true, if I love that, if this was true, then everything needed to change. So then how did you hear that call to consecrated life? Was it shortly thereafter all of this reversion?
Yeah. So pretty quickly after that point, the initial calling, I believe, was actually during that initial experience of prayer. But then I didn't even understand didn't understand anything. So I started to, from there, once I started praying, and I actually met a sister. Whoa, I didn't even know. Whoa, it was a very, who are these people? If you totally dedicate your life to God, you know what that means? You become a sister. So I didn't even these were things I had to connect dots, so there was a lot of dot connecting going on. So then I ended up discerning eventually, within the year or so, that I was pretty sure that I was called to become a sister.
And then what led you to the Franciscans of the Eucharist?
Yeah. A very exciting announcement, just so I don't forget to say, today's the 10-year anniversary of the founding of our community. I'd just like to shout that out to the public sphere. It's pretty exciting. So yeah, what a great day to get interviewed about.
Happy anniversary.
I know, isn't that exciting? So our community was founded 10 years ago today. Signed by Cardinal Francis George. So that's very exciting. So the community didn't exist when I was discerning the community. So that was really exciting. There was a discernment community here at the location. There was 2 women and a young man in part of the discernment community at the time. So I started looking at all kinds of Franciscan communities all over the place. I was pretty positive I was called to be a Franciscan after I'd looked around at different things. So I actually didn't ever go to visit any other communities besides Franciscans. I was pretty positive that it wasn't going to work out. So I did visit.
Why is that? You've got to tell me. So what is it about the Franciscans that you were like, I'm all in? That's for me.
Yeah. So before all this reversion conversion stuff happened, I was pretty positive I didn't want to own anything. Okay, so that was really weird, right? So I was just really into not owning anything and not wanting to have anything, and essentially living a life of poverty, even though I didn't understand the concept of religious life at the time. So I was very interested in this chosen poverty for the sake of helping others. So that was a value that I already held, as well as St. Francis's focus on the Eucharist, his devotion to the Eucharist, and kind of his understanding of how obviously his work with the poor, and his value of the actual hands-on work with the poor. So those are the main reasons I felt called to Franciscan life. And I just looked at other communities. I'm like, wow, these people, they wear white habits. That's a problem. I would die. It'd be full of everything. They don't look like they do a lot of manual labor. Okay, so that's not going to work out. I definitely need to move around a lot. So there was just a lot of I'm like, wow, they also sing, and I'm not really into singing. So I was like, I think all this isn't going to work out. So then it was very clear that the Franciscans, it was not necessary to sing. You didn't wear a white habit. And it was clear you could do manual labor as much as you wanted. So I'm all in. So that was great. Yeah. And so I'm not, as you can probably tell, also a lot of these other communities have the stereotype of kind of being pretty, a lot of stereotypically feminine traits. Obviously I'm feminine, but I'm not really into sitting around a lot and chatting. So I'd rather get out and do some things. So I also felt that the to-do spirit was out there with the Franciscans. So that's where I felt called to go. So here I am. And so I visited other communities, but I didn't feel called to any of these places. It was pretty obvious that it wouldn't work out. So I ended up coming here. I felt at home here, and it was a great gift. So,
but you also had to find a place, right? You were still running, even though it probably wasn't the priority anymore, right? Because you had reprioritized your life, but you were still running. So you had to find also a community that was going to be supportive of this love of yours as well, right? This passion that you had for running.
Well, so that's a very interesting part of my discernment. So I never quit the team at U of I. I was on the team all 4 years. So I just never ran fast really ever again after the foot thing. But I did discern, a very important part of my discernment was I discerned with the community where I knew if I would have joined that community, I would have never been able to run ever again. So a very important step is that I had a very powerful experience in prayer where I told God that if you don't want me to run again, that's fine. So that happened my senior year in college. So kind of when I gave running to God, I got it back. So I wasn't called to that community for other reasons, but it had then been eliminated as an aspect of the discernment journey. So it then became, where do you want me, Jesus? And you want me there for a specific reason, and it's not about running anymore. So, and then God gave running back. So bonus, that was great. So, but that was not a factor in my discernment.
So tell us more about the Franciscans of the Eucharist, first of all, because you're at the Mission of Our Lady of Angels.
Mhm.
Tell us what do you do? What is their charism, if you will? What are they doing?
Yeah. So our charism is to live and work with the poor, and to begin and maintain sites of perpetual adoration, and to do evangelization work, which a main aspect of our evangelization work is teaching in poor Catholic schools. Our work with the poor includes a lot of outreach with food and material goods right now. During the pandemic, we've been feeding 3,000 families a month with 150 pounds of food each. So that's been our main thing during the pandemic. But during non-pandemic times, we also do a lot of work with children and seniors and families. Our neighborhood is one of the worst neighborhoods in the United States. So most importantly, we live here, and so we stand with people during the difficulties, and we're a presence of Jesus to them during the violence, during the stuff you saw on TV about Chicago. We're here, and we stand next to people, and we're here present with them during all the things. So and we try to be that presence of Jesus who came to walk with us in our difficulties and sin and our hard times. So we're going to be here with people. And so then eventually we will have perpetual adoration here as well. So that's the second part of our charism. We're building up to that right now. And so that should be, we're doing aspects of perpetual adoration, but we'll have more later. And then two of us currently teach in schools. I'm one of the sisters that does teach. And then there's two other sisters that will be teaching shortly. I teach K-8 religion at a school called St. Sylvester's part-time.
That's beautiful. I'm sure that just your witness to them on a daily basis when you're able to be together is beautiful, because if we want more priests and sisters, you just put a sister in the classroom and let them evangelize, and just by being a witness to Christ's love, I feel like very, very strongly about that. So we need more sisters in the classroom.
As someone who didn't go to any Catholic school, it's been a gift to be present in a Catholic school, and I'm grateful for the time. It's been really beautiful. Something I wasn't planning, like teaching was not something that was necessarily why I discerned or what I was discerning to do, but it's been a great gift to me for sure. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so then tell me about, how do you fit running into your day? What does that normally look like for you?
So I don't train. Yeah. So yeah.
You just run for fun when you can.
Yeah. I run once a week or twice a week, and that's it. It's great.
That's awesome. So
yeah, so I gave up when I started teaching. I was trying to qualify for the Olympic trials for a while, but when I started teaching, it wasn't going to happen, so I stopped doing it.
Yeah, because that's intensive training when you're trying to get to that level.
Well, you had to train. I don't know if it's intensive. Like, you actually did need to train, and it was clear that I wasn't going to actually train. So it was unrealistic to continue to say that I was trying to qualify for the Olympic trials. So, but there was a while there when I was training enough where it wasn't embarrassing to say that. So, yeah.
Awesome. And so then tell me about, how did you marry running marathons and being a sister, and because you're also raising money for your community and what you're doing each day for those things that you just said, the charism. So how did that all happen?
Yeah, so there's a sister in our community who used a lot of used marathons. Sister Alicia Torres, the one who won Chopped. So she used marathoning to pay off her college debt. So there was this beautiful already avenue into marathon running when I got here. And then in 2011, we founded a charity team with the Chicago Marathon. So we are official charity starting in 2011. And we've had teams since that point. So we've had, this year, we would have had 103 people running in the Chicago Marathon to support the mission. That would have been our biggest team, but we've been around 100 the last couple of years. So we've raised over $1 million to support Mission of Our Lady of the Angels through the Chicago Marathon. So it's been a great gift. It's so much fun. I love, the marathon is a distance that I know I've always wanted to run. So I'm very blessed to be able to do it in this capacity. And I love the marathon. It's just the best distance. So great.
And so this year, the Chicago Marathon's just canceled.
Correct.
It's just canceled, and you're like, oh, well, I guess we just won't run this year. We just won't raise money this year. Is that what you're thinking?
No, that was not what I was thinking. As you can probably tell from this interview, I have a huge mouth and I say crazy things all the time. So guess what I told my team was that I said, I'm so positive that they're not going to cancel this race, that if they do cancel the race, I'm going to run a marathon on a treadmill. So I said this in like April. And then when it seemed, everyone's like, oh, the pandemic's going to be over in June or May, or it's just gonna this is going to be over. Obviously it's still going on clearly. So they canceled the race, and then I said this, and I was like, well, there's no reason for me not to do this, so I should do what I said. It's kind of like the deal. So then I did. That was what happened.
But you set a record.
Yeah, well, so I set a record because no one else had done it before. That's the best kind of world record, right? So the goal is finishing. Yeah, so that was the great discovery of that no one had ever done it. So that's how that worked out. I would have not broken anyone's record because I'm not in shape to break anyone's record. But if there is no record, I can most certainly create the record. So that worked out.
That's awesome. And so I'm amazed that so people were watching you, right? They were watching you as you were running on the treadmill.
Yes.
Virtually. They could see you doing this, and from the comfort of their home or their sofa, they could vicariously run a marathon through Sister Stephanie.
Yes, that's what happened, I believe, with a lot of people. Yeah, so a lot of people joined me on Zoom. So the thing was on the whole marathon was on Zoom. Different people from the team, different people from different points of my life joined me on Zoom. Thank God, because it would have made so much more possible. So, and then yes, people were watching it. It was live streamed on YouTube. So then people were also watching on YouTube. So
then people were just donating at that point and continue to donate. I just looked, and you're almost at $125,000 that you have raised for your community for specific purpose. But I love the fact that at the beginning you were like hoping, oh, maybe we'll raise this small amount, and then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible. So yeah, I thought when I made the grand announcement that I thought I was going to do this, I thought I'd raise $80,000. But then I doubted. See, don't be a doubter. I put 40 as the original goal. Clearly, like the day before the race, obviously we had already raised $40,000, thanks be to God. And so I already put it to 80 for race day. But then we surpassed that. Like I was on like mile 6 and we already passed $80,000. So yeah, we've raised $125,000. It's incredible.
So tell everybody, what is this? What are you raising money for?
Yeah, so we're raising money to do two main things: to continue to support the food pantry, because the food pantry has been massively large, and food supplies. We definitely need to buy some food right now because there's the normal sources of food are there's not as much as we'd hoped, and then we're serving 3 times as many people as we normally are. So we're seeking food and supporting the food pantry. And then a lot of the money is going to go to help us finish the renovation of our new outreach center to the neighborhood. So we're renovating the former Our Lady of the Angels school, where the historic fire took place in 1958. So the building that was built on the location in 1960 is being renovated to be our new outreach center. So that's really exciting, and we should be finishing that in the next year. And then hopefully when COVID's over, we're going to open, and like people can come in our building, which will be which I know it's like people don't come in our buildings anymore, so it's kind of crazy, but hopefully by then it'll be done, and then we can have everybody in, and it'll be great because we're going to have a 45-bedroom retreat center, volunteer and retreat center on the 3rd floor of the building for all the people that come and help us and come on mission trips and then come and have retreats here. Then we're going to have the 1st floor is our new indoor pantry, storage room, and the adoration chapel where the perpetual adoration is going to happen, and then a new industrial kitchen and dining room. And the 2nd floor is going to be our new social service space for counseling, healthcare stuff, to be announced classroom space, and different things. So yeah, so we're really excited. We're going to get that done. And the money from the marathon was key to really getting us to really far. So that was good. Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah. I mean, and I just think that, this is a great message for everybody. Use your gifts to glorify God. Yeah. It's that simple, right? I mean, it's not rocket science. Find out what your gifts are, love what you do, and glorify God in some way with it and through it.
Yeah, God's been very obvious with my gifts to the world, thanks be to God. So I hope that's the witness that people are receiving, because lots of people's gifts are a lot less they're less obvious, but they're just as important. So that I hope that people embrace their gifts and are able to use them for the kingdom, for sure.
And I'm so thankful for your yes, Sister Stephanie, and for sharing all of this with us today. I'm sure you're going to be inspiring so many who, first of all, thought, oh, religious life, that's not for me. I wouldn't be able to do X anymore. I wouldn't be able to garden anymore, and I love gardening. Or I wouldn't be able to do whatever it is anymore because of that. I'd have to give it all up. And I love the fact that that's not necessarily the case. And you just find a place where your gifts can be used. And I just think that you inspired a lot of people in that way today. And I hope that many people will give so that you can continue your work and the community's work. So thank you so much for joining us today, Sister Stephanie.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great.
God bless you and all that you do.
Thank you.